Welcome to Off the Record. I am Toby Christie, not David Schildhouse, in for him this week as he does some fun stuff. I think he's going to SRX or something like that. So checking it out. We have on the show this week an awesome guest. I don't think he's ever been on Off the Record. Have you?
I have not. Off the record, off axis. I've only done one of those. So
there you go. Off Axis Paints, Greg Stumpff. How you doing, Greg?
I'm good, man. Just another busy week here, trying to get ready for what's upcoming. Cool helmets for this weekend in Atlanta, and then pretty much on to playoff helmets. So I've been nonstop here.
Man, that's crazy. And so this week, obviously we'll get into the helmet painting stuff because I think that's intriguing. I don't think anybody ever thinks about that side of things. But let's first off look at what you did this past week. You were a spotter for Tyler Reddick as he captured his first career Cup Series win. How cool is that to be involved in that?
Man, really, really cool. One, I'm not a full-time spotter, obviously, and it's cool just to go out and have fun with your friends. And then two, I've known Tyler since he's 13 or 14 years old, wheeling a dirt car all through the Midwest. So to see him and kind of be there for everything through his career, and then to be there for his first win and not just there, but being a part of it. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better situation for me to be in. It was the coolest thing ever.
Now, considering how close he's been so many times and how many weird things have happened to him along the way, did you start getting nervous from the spotter stand going, oh man, I hope nothing happens here?
A little bit. I mean, we had a good car, it fired off in practice. Awesome. And qualifying was good. So I knew we had a really good piece. I don't know. I had dinner with Tyler Wednesday before the race, and I could just tell he's in a really good headspace, really good, going into the weekend, excited about it. And usually when you have that kind of attitude going into the weekend, you're going to be good. You got a good driver. The pit crew obviously did amazing. The whole setup from Randall for the weekend. And then my other two spotters, Brandon Wilkes and Derek Nealon, who is this full-time spotter. I mean, just everyone was on their game this weekend. I felt like we had a full team dinner the night before. And everyone was just laid back, knew we were going into a good weekend. And, so yeah, I wasn't nervous at all going into that deal. I didn't do a whole lot. I mean, I just did the restarts in turn one. So, usually you're just going through that, the chaotic first turn after that restart, but we never restarted worse than like fourth. So really my job was pretty easy. And, I was a race fan most of the time. So I just kind of sat back and watched Tyler do his thing, which was really amazing.
You mentioned team dinner. What was the team dinner? Is it maybe a lucky spot for future races now?
Yeah, I can't give it away now because everyone will want to go there. But I think whatever we did this week, we have to do the same thing every time now. So it's just superstition.
Definitely. And so obviously Road America is a picturesque kind of racetrack. It's out in the middle of the wilderness. It looks like in all the photos you always see. How cool of a spot is that for you? I know there's been some rumblings about whether or not it'll have another Cup Series date next season. What are your thoughts on Road America?
Well, I've been there with Xfinity Series for a lot of years, so when they wanted Cup to come, I thought it was a cool deal. Last year being on July 4th, actually at Road America, I thought was awesome. The place is packed out. There's a ton of people there. I don't know. It's a cool racetrack for me. Obviously, I love going there. I love like Sheboygan area and all that, around the Great Lakes. I would never really been up to that area in the country until we started going to Road America. So I tell people now it's one of my top 5 favorite stops on the tour. It's just a really beautiful place. I'm not sure I could live there in the winters because the locals have told me it's not a big deal. You just plow the roads, but negative 20-degree weather I don't do so well in. So but yeah, it's top 5 easily one of my favorite stops. And now it's even an even better place in my heart because of what happened last weekend.
Definitely. I think that's something you're going to remember every time you go there now. That's so cool. Have you ever won another race at Road America? I know you've been doing some spotting for a lot of other guys over the years. Have you won any other races there?
No, I think maybe a second place in like Xfinity or something. Which the day before I spot for Austin Hill in Xfinity and we got a top 5. So the whole weekend really went well for us, man. It wasn't too hard on my part, honestly. Just like I said, the restarts and then they kind of get spread out over that 4-mile track. So it's not like you're doing a whole lot of work there. It's It's not like Portland where it's pouring rain and you can't see the track and it's, it gets wild. So it was a pretty tame weekend all around for me.
How was Portland, by the way? You kind of talked about how crazy and rainy it was. I'm sure you were spotting there too. How was that?
Yeah, so I did Austin Hill there too, and I think where we finished third maybe. So
Yeah,
we
he
did
did
really
well.
well. It's my first year doing Austin Hill, and I've known him a little bit. I was around his team when he won the championship in trucks, and just a really good racer. He never gets down on himself, even if we get buried in the pack. Like, he knows what he has, and everyone just kind of puts their head down and digs. Andy Street is the crew chief on that deal, and dude, it's a good team. Like, I hope they stay together for a long time. Everyone really gets along. It reminds me a lot of the 8 team. I worked with all those guys when Tyler was running Xfinity and won the championship there. So I hope that whole team stays together with whatever they do, because both those teams are just super solid and work really well. But you asked about Portland, extremely rainy. I think we knew that going into the weekend. Luckily, I didn't have to do the chicane on the front stretch, or that would have been a disaster. But I did have a pretty good section of the track, probably 5 corners I could see, and it was just chaotic the whole time. Basically, just holding on, telling them to back it down and keep it on the track. So I don't know. One of the wildest races I've been a part of. Not as bad as Coda last year in the rain, but still, anytime you have a rain race, it gets a little wild.
Yeah, no, definitely. And for guys like you that kind of jump in and spot duty as a spotter whenever teams need extra guys, what's it like kind of jumping into that all of a sudden? Because you're used to, painting helmets and doing all this other stuff. And now all of a sudden you're being asked to spot for a team. Do you have to keep track of your own radio, make sure the batteries are all charged up yourself? Does somebody else take care of that for you with it not being your usual duties? I mean, how does that work?
So I have all my own equipment, which is pretty nice over the year. I've probably been spotting for 6 or 7 years now, just kind of on the side and, hobby spotting, I call it. So yeah, I have all my own stuff. It's not terrible. I do see a lot of, truck drivers for smaller teams, and I'm sure they'd have one radio and, just grabbing it from the hauler or whatever. But, me and Derek and Brandon, like I said, we've been together for, over 2 years now, and we got a pretty good system. We do, Xfinity and Cup together. So, by the time we get to a Cup race for the weekend, we pretty have everything dialed in. We know where we pick people up. We know where we lose people, how to hand off on channel 2, what we're all looking for. I think it's a lot of work. Just kind of knowing your surroundings, knowing what's happening in the race, and making sure that we can all capitalize, because the road courses are so hard. The crew chief can't really see the whole track and know what's going on. So really we're their eyes and ears on channel 2 for a lot of that. So, if a car's going off, you instantly have to call that in and make sure, if a car's stuck in the sand trap and the caution's about to come out and we can jump on pit road, that's vital for that team. So luckily we didn't have to do that, last weekend, but it is a lot of work just to kind of be in communication with everyone and making sure everyone has the right information at the right time.
No, definitely, for sure. That's interesting stuff to see how people jump into the fray like that. Greg, has been good so far. Let's go ahead and hit a quick break real quick. We'll be right back with Off the Record. And we are back with Off the Record here with Off Axis Paints, Greg Stumpff. In the first segment, we talked a lot about your spotting duties this past weekend with Tyler Reddick at Road America. First career victory for him in the Cup Series. Let's kind of move things back towards like you and how you got to where you're at right now. You paint helmets for some of the top drivers in the sport today. How did you get started in this whole thing? Where did it begin?
Really, I grew up in Missouri around dirt racing, and just ended up having luck of the draw, one of the best art teachers you could possibly ask for in high school, and kind of noticed that I was a standout, not even a standout, just decent at my work, and I had a passion for it. I wasn't the best by any means. And then, kind of said, hey, here's an airbrush. Why don't you try this thing out in the back of the room? And Noel McEwen, that works here still to this day, we went to high school together. And we both kind of grabbed the airbrush around the same time and just kind of ran with it. So in the beginning stages, it wasn't really helmets. We didn't have this down. We were just painting, anything and everything that could hold still, t-shirts, motorcycles, murals in schools or whatever else that we could get paid for, because we were just, young kids, basically having a hobby that we still made money at. So, me and Noel have been painting for over 20 years together, and luckily we've never really had to get a real job. So, besides the spotting gig, I guess that's my only actual job. So, started getting into the helmets and meeting more people like Allgaier, and JJ Yaley, Tyler Reddick, obviously, early on in my career. And then I was just shipping stuff back and forth from Missouri to North Carolina. Ended up meeting Ryan Flores, who is front tire changer for Ryan Blaney now at Penske. And he was like, "Why are you not in North Carolina?" And I was like, "Great question." So I loaded everything up in a U-Haul, and I worked in a storage unit here in Mooresville for a couple of years, and now we have employees and a nice shop that everyone can come in and out of right here in town. So just a storybook or dream come true, honestly, for me to do what I love every single day and to work for the best athletes in the world, not just NASCAR, but some of the top moto guys in NHRA and anything else that goes fast that you need a helmet for. So it's been really cool to build the business and build all these relationships, not just with drivers, but with these corporate companies that you would meet. And in any other situation, I don't think I'd be working with these people. But because we all come into racing and they sponsor cars and everything, it's a very unique opportunity for me, and I enjoy capitalizing on all of it.
That's incredible. That's really cool how it's come that far. You and Noel have been together that long. At some point, do you guys butt heads like an old married couple, or you guys still get along really well?
No, never. We're about the most laid back guys you could possibly want. And Noel is such a better artist than me. So, I like to think that I handled the business side of things a little better than what he would, and he handles the art side a little better than what I would. So, I think together we're honestly unstoppable for what we are, set out to do or capable of.
For people who are wondering who your current clients are, who are some of the big clients you guys have right now that utilize off-axis paint?
Obviously Tyler Reddick,
Yeah.
Bowman and Byron at Hendrick, Logano, Harrison Burton over at Penske, Eric Almirola, who's about to leave us, which is always a bummer when a driver retires. So, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex, Corey LaJoie, and then a slew of Xfinity guys and Truck Series guys, Crafton and Allgaier and probably 35, 40 drivers just in NASCAR alone. And then we got a Black Rifle Coffee deal. So we do all of Travis Pastrana and a lot of their crazy cool athletes from rallycross and jet ski racing and whatever else. So when you get with a company like that has so many big athletes, it opens the doors for a lot of new clients and a lot of new relationships. I enjoy working with everyone.
No doubt. You've done other cool stuff over the years. I remember you had a Where's Waldo helmet one time you painted. I remember that thing was really cool.
Yeah.
You've done stuff for Monster Jam, Grave Digger. You've done a lot of really cool stuff. Guitars, I'm sure you've been doing.
Yeah.
Here lately, right?
Don't forget the President of the United States. He now has an off-axis helmet. So
well, there you go.
That's always pretty cool. Yeah, a lot of guitars. I have a bunch of guitars hanging on my wall from the days when I worked with Sam Bass. So that's really cool to kind of keep that legacy going, for Charlotte and Daytona 500 and, doing some stuff for Nashville and stuff like that. So I love music, and it's always cool to kind of step away from the helmets and do a couple guitars.
You were in a band yourself back in the day, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. And it's cool because I'm friends with a lot of band people now, like when we went to Nashville and get to hang out with a lot of musicians who love NASCAR, and it's cool to kind of swap stories and, see that life played out on a professional level.
Yeah, no doubt. It's really cool to see. You've done a lot of really cool stuff. It's really fun to see. But another thing I've been kind of wondering about is, man, Greg's this fast-paced dude. He's always so busy. When's he gonna slow down and take time to smell the roses? You're getting married.
I am, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, weddings are expensive, so I don't think we'll be slowing down anytime before that. So yeah, between we just stayed out on the West Coast between Portland and Sonoma, and it's so pretty up there. I've never really been in that area, and I thought what better place to do that than up there. So I took Jeremy Clements, one of my buddies with me, and his wife Courtney, and we just went and hung out for a couple days, and then I said, hey, I have this ring, I'm gonna propose this weekend. So I think I caught everybody off guard, but Candace is the coolest. She used to work in the sport at Roush, and that's obviously how we met, and traveled a lot of years together through NASCAR. So it's gonna be cool. I hope in the next year we'll have it all planned out and it's a big party for everybody.
Definitely. I have to say, Candace was always one of my favorite PR people to work with. She was always so accommodating, one of the nicest people you'd ever talk to. So when I saw her leave the sport, I was so bummed out. But then I was like, well, but Greg's hanging out with us. This is awesome. I love the fact that she's with Greg. That's awesome. So it's cool to see you guys taking the next step. That's awesome. I was wondering what the heck?
She's a very organized person, and I am very not organized on a lot. And I guess we work together. We work well together that way, I guess. So
opposites attract.
Yeah.
Sure. You mentioned the Sam Bass stuff. I kind of want to get into that a little bit too, because I knew you were close with him. I didn't know how much you worked with him and what the dynamic was there. What all had you done with Sam Bass over the years?
Yeah, quite a bit. Dorothy Allgaier actually introduced us one time on pit road, and I just thought, there's no way this guy wants to work with a little helmet painter like me, because at the time I was still working out of a storage unit, so I was just by myself out here. And you go back and look at all the stuff Sam Bass did, designing Monopoly game boards I have, and Folgers coffee cans, and paint schemes for Dale Earnhardt and the Allisons and whoever else, everyone. So why I basically thought I wasn't worthy to even hang out or talk, but obviously everyone knows Sam, the nicest guy in the world, took me in under his wing, and really started to trust me with a lot of stuff, and that's one thing I don't take very lightly, is how much he trusted me helping paint these guitars for a lot of events, and just a lot of little projects and stuff that he couldn't really handle. And I could tell that, he wanted to, because he's the same way as me, just working all the time and would do anything for anyone. And then, when his health declined, he really wasn't able to do that. Not that he didn't want to, but I really think I helped him fulfill a lot of stuff through the end of his career. And I still talk to his family all the time. I just had lunch with his wife a couple weeks ago, and we have a lot of things in the works to kind of keep his legacy going with online merch and some prints and a lot of stuff we're going to try to start bringing back. Now that there's been some time, so a lot of projects I'm really, really excited for. Just we're slammed with helmets, and I get maybe 10% of my time once a week I can kind of devote to that. But a lot of cool stuff getting ready to come out with the Sam Bass legacy stuff, and I'll be very excited to announce it, because it's kind of been in the works for so long. So but I would love to see a Darlington weekend where you just honor Sam Bass paint schemes or something cool like that. So we have a lot of stuff in the works. My desk here is actually Sam's desk that his wife let me borrow. I told her I didn't want it, but she could take it back whenever. And I honestly hope the Hall of Fame one day inducts him and wants to put all this stuff on display somewhere, because I think it's the coolest stuff ever. And just kind of having his presence and mindset in the shop is something we strive for, not just on the artwork side, but just on the way he treated people and how kind he was. And again, shirt off his back for anybody. And that's kind of the reputation we want to have here at Off Axis.
For sure. Sam was one of the coolest guys ever. Even if you just met him, he would take the time out to talk to you. And by the end of the conversation, you were one of his best friends. So he was a cool dude. Really awesome to see you keeping that tradition going, keeping that legacy going. On that note, let's take another break here at Off Axis, here at Off the Record, with Off Axis Paints, Greg Stumpff, and we'll be right back. And we're back here on Off the Record with Off Axis Paints, Greg Stumpff. Greg, what do you think about the show so far?
I love it, man. I'm pumped that they asked you to fill in. Obviously, this show wouldn't go on without you this week. So, but I love talking to you anytime we can get. So I'm glad you're a little closer to the shop. I feel like you should have been visiting a little more than you have, but I understand that you're busy. I'm busy. understandable.
Yeah, we're gonna have to set together another lunch date and come check out the shop again. The shop's beautiful. Love it, by the way. Something I don't think people really notice or understand, because I didn't understand it when I was taking the tour through there, is you actually have a machine in there that gets all the sweat and all the grime out of the helmets and stuff like that. How cool is that?
Yeah, it's kind of nice to have, full whatever you need here, from helmets. We can design fire suits and order that stuff. We have our own, gloves and stuff. And then we have, the competition cleaning is in here that we can, take in helmets, clean everything out of it, kills all the bacteria in it. And it's been really cool because a lot of people that don't use off axis actually come here to use that. So it's a unique opportunity again, where we can meet other people in the industry we might not have a chance to talk to.
No, definitely. It's really cool. You've also got a Matt Crafton truck in the shop there. That's pretty cool. How'd you acquire that?
Oh, it's a Matt's first win truck, so it's cool. It's not actually mine. It's just Matt's shop is up the street, and he's about as organized as I am, so it's pretty full. And I just happen to be a quarter mile down the street and have a little bit of room for a truck, so it's sitting here. But it's a cool talking point. People come in and always want to jump in it, or put their kids in it, have pictures. So it's a cool piece to have in here for sure. And we obviously have plenty of extra space, so it's not a big deal. It's not in our way.
Yeah, that's the thing I took away when I walked through there. That shop is large. Like, my goodness, I was not expecting the size of this shop that you guys have, but it makes sense with all the helmets, all the fire suits, everything else you guys have coming in and going out. It makes sense for the space to be that large. But it's really cool. It gives you a lot of display space. You've got all the fire suits hanging up in the front entryway there, a bunch of helmets everywhere. You've got the cool recording studio that I think you're in right now. It's cool. You guys have a lot of cool stuff at that shop.
Yeah, thanks, man. I hired Tanner. He's here now. If does all of our social media. So if you just message us on there, if you're in Mooresville, want to stop by, we're right here by all the race shops. So please definitely stop in. We've been doing kind of fan day and stuff like that for Charlotte weekends, and that's really starting to grow, and more people want to jump in and have cars on display and different things out in our parking lot for Charlotte weekends. So we're really trying to make it just a big community. People can just kind of stop in and check it out, and everyone's super personable in here. It's not like you're taking our time or you're going to be in the way at all. I tell anybody, stop in and we'll gladly let you stay in a helmet if you'd like to.
See, always find a way to get free work out of people, right?
Yeah.
Love it. So going forward now, you've got a lot of stuff on your plate. How many helmets do you guys have currently that need to be done right this second? Like, what's the workload like?
The racks are full. I think we're like 6 to 8 months behind. So soon in October, before the season's even over, we'll start Daytona 500 stuff for next year. So we always try to start out with, like, obviously Truex is coming back. We know he's probably going to have Bass Pro auto owners, and we try to do all those logos and helmets we know are going to be returning. We'll do all those first, and then they can get all their, photos, videos, whatever they need out of the way, kind of take Christmas off, and their stuff's done for Daytona. And then you start all the smaller teams, or the last minute stuff that comes in, in January. So it's a big off season for us. Everyone always thinks we rest, but it is nonstop in here. It's 7 days a week. How many helmets can we get done? So right now is, the slower time of year. We're still obviously crazy backed up, but it gives me a little time to get out of the shop and go do the spotting gigs or whatever else. And honestly, I miss being on the competition side. So the spotting deal kind of feeds all that, so I can get out of the shop, see people at the racetrack, and be a part of the team, and obviously be a part of a win like this weekend. But it really helps me just to kind of clear my head and get out of here and not breathe so many paint fumes, which are taking over my life. So it's a crazy process. I always tell people just stop in and really check it out, or check out our videos from Alpha Vision. And you can kind of see the whole process. I think when people actually see the process, it's a lot more than what they originally thought in their head.
Yeah, definitely. I know you use primarily Sherwin-Williams paint from when I walked in there. I checked it out. You do have some Axalta paint for your Byron stuff as well, like that, and probably the Hendrick guys. What is your favorite specific hue, color of paint that you use? Like, what is your favorite when you see a color? You're like, dang, that's a pretty good one. I like.
I don't know. I'm a sucker for like any neons. I also like black and white. I don't know. I'm all over the board, honestly. Something like these helmets behind me, these are Harper Allgaier's helmets. And I like the tie-dye stuff. This thing has every color imaginable.
That's awesome.
It looks cool, man. So anything like bright with some black, I'm all for it. I like bright, crazy colors.
It's been really cool to see how Harper's helmets have kind of taken on a life of their own. Like, it has become a tradition where everyone kind of checks in on it and sees what she's putting together for her dad for the playoffs. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, it's by far my favorite project of the year. I just talked to her with her last weekend at the track and or the weekend before, and she's got a bunch of crazy. I don't know where this kid comes up with ideas because it's always random. It's always super unique. But she has the whole thing planned out. So it's not even like I do anything anymore. I just kind of sketch up a design of what she has in her head. And then she comes in, throws on the respirator and the gloves and she goes to town. It's not even anything like when we first started. And I kind of had to guide her and, go back and clean up her stuff after. And it is fully a Harper Allgaier project. And that we get to video that and show Justin later on. After he sees the helmet is one of the coolest parts for me. So I think we're on number 6 or 7 this year. But I mean, she's got crazy cool ideas. So I can't wait. Ever since when she was born, I had this idea to do a helmet with her. So it was just like, how long do we have to wait until she can hold a paintbrush, and now it's this crazy cool project that everyone gets involved in. So super, super excited to start this year's.
That's really awesome. I can't wait to see what she's got in store this year. I mean, all those things are awesome. I like the one that had the unicorn horn on it too.
Yes.
She's had some really, really cool helmets come out of there. So that's really cool that she puts that kind of a personal touch in there. And I know Justin takes a lot of pride in his helmets too. He's kind of been one of the more active guys that's on your client list over the years, right?
Yeah, Justin loves helmets and every year tells me he doesn't care what it looks like. Here's the car. Which is honestly more pressure on me because I know how much of an artist he is and how much he looks over a helmet. I mean, Justin could come in here and paint a helmet by himself. No, not a problem. Like he knows everything ins and outs about it. How to do all the prep work, how to lay down the colors, so painting for someone who knows what they're looking for and, not that he's picky, but just, it's like painting for another artist, you're trying to impress another artist basically when you paint his helmets, and that adds a whole layer of stress on me. And he never always tells me not to stress, whatever, it's easy. But honestly, his helmets are one of the harder ones to paint just because, I know what he's looking for and I know what he expects, honestly. So, his helmets, they always come out cool looking. I think me and Noel kind of trade off on who paints his. But every year I think we come up with something pretty unique and different. And he hasn't left us yet, so we must like him. But yes, also, second part to that, he has an entire room full of helmets, every helmet from his career, I believe, except maybe 1 or 2 where he had to, give it as a sponsor gift. And I think I have one from one of the first ones I painted for him. But yeah, a helmet freak. He has them all. He has basically a Tony Stewart collection of helmets at his house.
That's amazing. That's really cool. It's not like keeping his first win truck or anything like that, but helmets are pretty cool too, I guess.
I'm sure he has his first win car somewhere at his parents' because if you go to Illinois to his parents' house, it is a Justin Allgaier museum, and I don't think they have thrown away a single fire suit or a single race glove or shoe that he has ever worn. It's completely stocked with the Justin Allgaier museum over there.
That's incredible. That is incredible. So we'll have to see if they'll open it up someday to the public. That'd be kind of cool, huh?
We definitely should. It would be a tourist attraction of Riverton, Illinois, for sure.
Wow, there it is. And so you were talking about also wanting to make sure you print out all the decals and stuff that are going to be coming back and all that stuff. Have you ever had a thing where you print them all out, you get the helmet going, and then all of a sudden somebody goes, "Hey man, I am so sorry, but the sponsor pulled out." Have you ever had that happen? And what happens in that situation?
Pretty close maybe, but it's not very common. Usually by the time they get to me, the contracts are done, the money's, in the accounts. I don't ever really take on a project unless it's pretty concrete. I've had a couple situations where it was kind of iffy. And luckily we didn't proceed with them and they kind of fell through. So being in the sport, I've been here in North Carolina 10 years. I kind of know how the ins and outs work, and not only who's trustworthy, but just I kind of see the writing on the wall when stuff like that happens. If it's one of my friends, I gladly, help out and do whatever I can. But we stay extremely busy here. There's 5 of us working nonstop. So if a situation like that happens, it really puts a kink in stuff. So we try to just keep it rolling, and the concrete stuff we know is going to be done. We start with all that first.
Perfect. That makes a lot of sense. So that's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Don't change your sponsor, Toby.
No, I'm gonna try not to. I'll just stick with the same people I always have. So that's good.
I see this helmet in the back there with the off-axis on it. Also, just wondering why it's not on the track any more than it is.
Well, we're gonna have to do that. We'll talk about that here in the next segment. That's actually a great transition for us to go to break here on Off the Record with Off-Axis Paints. Greg Stumpff. We'll be right back after this. And we're back with Off the Record. This is Off-Axis Paints. Greg Stumpff here. I'm Toby Christie. What's going on, Greg? You kind of alluded to this helmet back here and kind of wondering why it's not on track more often. I think it's going to have to get back on track here pretty soon because you got a pretty cool event coming up, right?
Yeah, I didn't want you to dodge the question by going to a break, but yeah, that helmet needs to be worn. So yeah, every year we do the Off-Axis 500. It's at GoPro Motorplex, which Justin Marks is kind enough to let us use the facility. And when I say use, that's lightly because we really use it. I think we use all of the asphalt plus some of the mud on the outside. And we really use up the carts. And I do feel bad, but it is such a great event and it's so much fun to watch. So basically what it is, it's a charity event. Everyone that has an Off-Axis helmet comes in and races for one night, usually on Monday night. This year, I think it's after Bristol. So September 19th is the date we're trying to go for. But it's a cool place. Again, I talk about unique opportunities. All of our drivers from every type of racing come in, dirt racing, drag racing, motocross, whatever. And everyone comes in and races. And it's just a cool networking place, or just pretty chill, relaxed. And you might meet drivers you somewhere wouldn't meet anywhere else, and race against them. So it's really cool for some of my dirt guys to come from the Midwest and race against, cup drivers. So it's really cool event, and all the money from the last couple of years has gone to Barium Springs Children's Home here close to town, and we do that with Kate Loomis, who started Mission Christmas a couple of years ago. So all the money, every bit of it, not a single dime goes to paying for this deal, and it all goes to make sure that kids have a good Christmas and they get the Christmas presents. So it's always a very humbling opportunity after this crazy fun event to go up there in December and drop off a trailer full of Christmas gifts that everyone has generously donated or donated money to. So it is one of the coolest events. It just started out with me wanting to go to the go-kart track and have a night with a couple of basically a thank you to all of our guys who started out with us. And I think the first time it was like 15 or 20 people, barely enough to run all the carts. And we're like, let's do this every year. So now it's like over 100 entries or something like that, and spectators and whoever else shows up. So it has grown crazy. It's obviously the 10th year we've been in North Carolina, so we plan on renting a bar out and making it a full-blown party this year for sure. So you have to come. There's no getting around it.
Nice. Yes, I'm definitely coming. I actually participated in the virtual Off-Axis 500 a couple of years ago during COVID.
Not near as cool.
Definitely.
Not near as cool.
Yeah, I will be here for the in-person one this year. I'm here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. I will not miss it. I will bring my helmet in hand, and I will attempt to make the final field. I don't think I'll get there, but I will give it a shot. And if I get to the final main event here, I think people are in trouble.
It's cool because there's, like I said, 100 people fighting for 20 spots for this main event. So it gets very out of hand very quickly. A lot of hurt feelings. Basically like a lot like the Xfinity race at Road America, that kind of chaos pretty much every time the carts are here on the track. So if anyone wants to watch, Haley Deegan ran it last year. It's on our YouTube channel. Just, Haley Deegan off axis 500. And it is one of the funniest videos you'll ever watch in your life, because it was pouring down rain last year. And she had, in-car mic on their helmet and everything. And just her laugh of going around there watching people spin out and wreck is, it's one of the funniest things I've ever watched.
Yeah, there's always good content that comes from this event every year.
Yeah.
I'm always looking forward to what pops up on social media, what happens on YouTube. You even had some live streaming. Are you doing live streaming again this year?
I'm not sure. We had so much trouble with it. It's tried to rain on us the last 2 years. Robotic cameras and rain don't really mix that well. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the streaming. I think if you want to come and watch, then it's a live event and it's cool for everyone. If, we're trying to get a lot of content creators out there this year. So if anyone's open to coming and wants to come hang out, just, shoot me a message and we'll make sure you have a spot. And I don't know. I think the live event is just way cooler than sitting at home watching it on your couch. So everyone needs to just come out and hang out with us for sure.
For sure. Let's all party. I'll be there. You'll be there. It's going to be a good time for sure.
Yeah.
So going forward, off axis 500, that's going to be awesome. You've got more spotting ahead of you this weekend, right?
I do. I'm about to head to Mid-Ohio, a place I've been there quite a few times actually. So I think I maybe have a little bit of upper hand or know where the lines are. But I'll be there with Matt Crafton for the first time. Trucks are going there. So I'm sure chaotic. I don't know if rain is in the forecast. Hopefully it's going to dry up, but I don't know. I really love the truck series. It's, younger kids. You got older guys like Matt Crafton in there that have ran a truck forever. And I just think it's some of the crazier racing for sure. It's definitely entertaining. So I definitely looking forward to going there and watching trucks go down this place.
Definitely. It's a unique series, and it has been since day one, because like you said, it's been a mix of young and old and grizzled veterans and guys that just have never done it before. Always leads itself to a fun recipe for craziness on the track. I have a question though. So who was the first person that was like, you know what, I need an extra spotter. I'm going to go with this guy who's been huffing paint all week.
Yeah.
I'm going to put him up there. I think he'll do a good job.
I think the first person, okay, well, back up. When I first realized this was a deal, I was still in Missouri, and the dirt late model driver I was working for at the time started dabbling in ARCA a little bit. And I went to a couple of those tests. They needed somebody to grab a radio and go to the roof, just, for a simple ARCA test at like Daytona. Ran up there, didn't know what I was doing at all. Met a couple guys who kind of walked me through it and, kind of figuring it out. And I remember watching the cars and then going to lunch with the team or the driver or whatever. And I said, hey, when you're coming off 4, instead of turning down, wait out here. This is what everyone else is doing. Try this out. Got done with lunch, went back out there and gained a whole 10th, that at Daytona, that's huge,
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of when it clicked for me. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a way. I have no idea what I'm doing with these asphalt cars. I've never been around asphalt at all. We only have dirt racing back in Missouri. So this is a way I can still be a part of the competition, helping out. And I just enjoy watching everything up there. You have the best view in the house for watching a race on the roof. So I just kind of loved it. Didn't really think anything of it. Moved here. And I think John Hunter or like maybe Ross Chastain or somebody, maybe my 3rd year here was like, hey, I need somebody at a road course. Do you want to come hang out? And I was like, absolutely. I love spotting. I love, being a part of a team. And at that time, it was a super small team and wasn't getting paid much, but it was just a cool break for me, to get out of the shop and go watch. And then I believe Canada with John Hunter, we ended up winning that race that he hit Cole Custer, and
The infamous race.
Yeah, the infamous race they use for every marketing tool for that road course in the trucks. So I spotted that last corner, watched him go through it. Obviously didn't say anything because there's nothing to be said there, coming from behind. Everyone always asks that, but went to victory lane and I was like, wow, this is really cool to be a small part of this. and get out of the shop, like I said, and still kind of feed that competition side of me. Because anytime I go to the go-kart track, I'm very competitive. I want to win. I'm very into trying to figure out on the track where to be faster, how to be faster, and just constantly learning about the sport and how these things work. So I just kind of blossomed from there. I think John Hunter Ross was my first one. And then, obviously when Tyler came into the sport, I knew him and I started spotting for him. I don't think in trucks as I was still with John Hunter, but I think as soon as he went to junior motorsports, I've been with him ever since. So to spot through all those with him as a secondary and to finally get a couple in with them was super special.
Awesome. And how big was the celebration for those guys? Because, you were kind of on the inside. Give us some intel.
Yeah, pretty laid back, honestly. Not as crazy as what you would think. I've been to a couple first win parties for my friends when they win a cup race, and they all haven't really been ragers. I think the vibe there, we went to one of his crew guys' house when we landed. The vibe was just like, we finally did it. We can have a beer and just relax, because I think that team has just been through so much and been so fast this year and finished second so many times and blew a tire and broke whatever, spun out my chase
all sorts of stuff.
Everything imaginable could happen. So honestly, it was just a pretty chill vibe. Obviously alcohol involved, but we did it. We're in the playoffs. I don't know, just it's over, I think they have a ton of confidence going into this next weekend because they know they're fast in Atlanta, and knowing that they got to win and they can do whatever. And also going back to Road America, the last times we were doing road courses last year was super boring for me because we were basically just going after points and throwing away our day. And I hate that for this team because they're so good and such a tight group. When you have to go to a road course, especially those last three, I think was like Road America, Watkins Glen, Indianapolis, we're just staying out for stage wins, and we're the only ones staying out and getting the 10 points. So when you have to do that, man, it's such a bummer because you're fast and you're not going to be competitive at the end of the day.
Greg, we want to say first off, thank you so much for taking time out to be on Off the Record. How can people find you on social media if they want to reach out? And are there any other projects you have going on you kind of want to plug?
Just Off Axis Paint. And I think that's on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. It's pretty easy to find us. No really crazy projects, just this Harper Allgaier one, like I said, coming up. I'm really pumped about all her crazy ideas, and I'm really excited to see people. I feel like now we have Alpha Vision, which is our video guy here in-house. The videos are better. Harper's artwork is better, and it makes me step up my acting career even more every time. So I can't wait to paint with her, and I'm super excited to show Justin what we come up with this year.
Definitely. Well, superstar Greg Stumpff, spotter, painter, social media guru. You're in Alex Bowman videos on Twitter now.
Yeah,
you did it all. So thank you so much for taking time out to be on Off the Record.
Hobby spotter. Don't forget it.
Hobby spotter. We don't want to anger the fuldtime spotters for sure.
I do want to do that. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out. Thank you everyone for listening to Off the Record. Hopefully next week, David Schildhouse will be back, but I appreciate you guys being with us for this week.